Your 2023 NBA G League champs, the Delaware Blue Coats.
Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Blue Coats Beat right here. Tony Cutillo, Mr. Coach Joe Richmond. And, man, it has been a while since we talked. Last episode, we have Ryan Ayers on. We talked about the fortunate end of the Blue Coat season. And now we have to talk about the other unfortunate end of another Sixers season. Unfortunately, Coach Joe, we keep getting the ends. I hate the ends, man, but we've been through this before. We're going through it again. We're headed into an off season, but just overall, because we're all part of the whole family, the whole landscape of the Sixers. What, in your opinion, kind of happened playoffs of the Sixers?
The best part of my day is being on here, Blue Coat Beat with you, talking about my Blue Coats and my Sixers. And that Coach Ayers episode was phenomenal.
Yes, it was.
Phenomenal.
Yes, so, it was. FYI, if you're listening now, make sure you go back and listen to that episode. Both YouTube channels, Delaware Blue Coats, Heat Ratio Sports. It's there. He was great, Joe. He was great.
Yo, and we both learned something. I tell you, that's the one thing about doing interviews. You learn something about people that's not in Wikipedia, ladies and gentlemen. And you know, my Blue Coats, we finished up. We were trying to pick up where we left off in 2022-23 as G League champions. But I believe the league was held in great hands. OKC ended up winning the championship. And it just shows, right? Look at them in the playoffs now, right? Look at OKC. Wow. So I don't feel bad when you fall to a team that you can see that their standard is. The same thing with my Sixers, right? Sixers fall to New York. And anybody that said they seen this out of New York, slap them. Just smack them in the mouth, knock them upside their head. They lying. Ain't nobody see Jalen Brunson just being this enigma. The only word you can use for Jalen Brunson.
I like that word.
He's a 6'2"?
If that, right? On paper.
Right? He's 6'2" Larry Bird, right? He like Larry. He ain't fast. He don't jump high. He's deceptively quick. He's deceptively strong. I mean, everything about him is so deceptive. When you think you got him figured out, he's doing something else. Where you think you got him where he wants him at, that's where he really wants to be. I don't think anything went wrong. And you know me, I'm not a no excuses guy. This time of year, everybody's beat up. Nobody's really telling the truth. Everybody on somebody's team is really hurt that they really lying about, that they really can't really say. And we all know that if you played the game, whether it's this game, football, baseball, when you get around this time of the season, right? But the core guys, they all got something wrong with them.
Yup.
They all got something wrong with them. And I thought Coach Nurse and them did an amazing job. We just ran into an enigma, man. We just ran into somebody that, you know, you've seen it with Maxey when he just went crazy in Game 5. He's like, you know, I was just in survival mode. You know what I mean? And you talk about, look at what Embiid doing with all the stuff he had going on. I couldn't even probably walk alone by myself, let alone be fighting against those damn Hartenstein, going through all he going through. Good Lord, if I was in his situation, just going through the supermarket, I'd be dead and somebody I'll have leaning over. You know, just so many different things that you can point a finger at. But my Sixers fought. We fought to the end. I just always feel bad when we lose on our home. That's the feeling inside of me that hurts more than anything. Losing hurts no matter what. But when you do it in front of your fans who you really want to bust your butt for and give them what they want, especially when the other team got other fans in there cheering and you don't want to have to deal with that, you know, you got to take your hat off to them. I think we got a strong core team. I know we have a lot of contracts that got to get looked at and some moves that's got to be made. But all in all, I wouldn't say I was actually mad or even disappointed. I was just kind of hoping something else would happen. I was looking for that oomph. I was looking for something, Tony. I can't really put my finger on it, but it was never a moment when I didn't think that we're going to pull this out. We're going to go to Game 7 and deal with them in New York, and I would feel better taking it there than dealing with it in Philadelphia. That's just my personal opinion. I hated us not being in period, but that's just my personal opinion. And you know, when it comes to my Blue Coats, no loss is a good loss. At home, away, or anything, I always want our season to go on because we truly got the best fans in the G League. We truly do. They've been riding with us since day one. So I'm looking forward, but the playoffs, Tony, they've been amazing.
They really have. I have to say something, though, because I think I have to slap myself. I'll be honest with you, because I did see this coming. And the evolution of the Knicks. I'm going to be honest with you. I literally, I have it on record too. Like I told everybody, I was surprised that everybody was taking him so lightly. Now, did I expect Josh Hart to shoot the lights out? No, but Listen, Josh Hart was a double-double machine all year. Jalen Brunson was shooting the lights out. I mean, yeah, he's not playing like he was now, but he was playing at an MVP level. So I just thought we took him very lightly, but you can't. Come on, man, with Joe. Look, Joe shouldn't have been out on the court. I don't hold Joe accountable whatsoever. A lot of people were, oh, he turned the ball over. I get it. But did you see he was hobbled the whole time? The guy's playing with Bell's palsy. He's got one leg. I mean, like, well, how about somebody else stepping up? Like, I'm not saying I don't want to call anybody out, but it's tough to call and beat out. So I'm not mad. I'm mad that they lost at home. Like you said, that stinks when you lose on the home court.
But you seen them handling the Sixers the way they did? You seen that?
Yeah.
Whoa.
The only reason why I say I seen it was because I know Joe wasn't 100%. And I did know that at that point in time that, listen, what were they, minus 38 without him on the floor? And I'm thinking, I don't know what they're going to do because, Oubre I love, but he's inconsistent at times. He plays hard out there. I'll give him that. Tobias, you just don't know when he's going to show up or, when he's going to have a good or bad game. So I was just like, if
I
this is
plead the fifth on Tobias. I'm on the record. I plead the fifth on Tobias. I'm on record.
Yeah, listen, the goose egg's hard to back up, man. I'm gonna be honest with you. I just think that I saw things out of Tobias that were positive on the defensive side of the ball. He didn't stop caring. He didn't stop grinding, but for some reason, Joe, he just lost his confidence when his shot. Like, he couldn't finish. He was missing 5-foot jumpers. It wasn't the way they were defending him. They were basically letting him do what he wanted. He didn't have it anymore, man. Just didn't have it anymore. And that's why I said if it was a full Embiid, I would have had no problem. But I knew that he was hindered. I thought Maxey was going to have a hard time. And I just thought the Knicks were strong. But you're right. Listen, we go into off season. It's going to be crazy. Who knows? We'll have plenty of episodes to speculate on that. One good thing, though, you mentioned one word, and that's Nick Nurse. And that's what I have to feel good about going forward because we have the coach in place. This isn't an off season where we're thinking, do we have to change coaches? To Nick Nurse's credit, how many times, Joe, did he have a full starting lineup of guys he knew was where they were going to play, right?
He was playing Twister with the roster. Remember that game? You hold over here,
Yep.
You put a hand over here. I got a leg over here from this guy, and he was just trying to hold it all together. We did some good things. And then it's just some things where, like you said, it all comes down to the big fella. And I always say 85%, 80% Joel Embiid is better than almost 95% of the league. When you threw all those different things that just kept coming one after the other, while the other thing was always there lingering, I don't care who you are. Dan Superman, that's a lot to fight through. So you got to give a credit to the staff to keep him out there and himself for wanting to be out there. But I'm hoping I don't get in trouble for it. He could have easily not been out there. Nobody really would have said anything.
I agree. I was curious because, you were looking at the way these playoffs were going and you were thinking about what the path was going to be. Heard their questions. Is it worth it? Is it worth having him out there? Because, listen, he could have easily, this, Joe, he could have easily re-aggravated or re-injured himself. And listen, it could have been worse than the first time. We could have lost him for the entire next year too. So it took a lot of chance, a lot of risk going out there. But listen, the playoffs, like you said, this year have been phenomenal. They really have been phenomenal. West, I still say, I look at it this way, Joe. Tell me what you think. But right now we're looking at Kyrie Irving, that I say is the most underappreciated basketball player in the NBA. Everybody worries about his comments and his mic skills. I just want to talk about the baller. The baller, he's balling out right now. He's giving Luka something Luka never had. The OKC boys, they're so young and so hungry. They're not intimidated. They just go out and ball, man, right?
Fearless.
And then we got to talk about Minnesota just absolutely destroying the Nuggets in the first two games. Did you see that one coming?
Oh, I was going to ask you now, did you see that one coming? Good Lord, Tony.
No.
The Nuggets top to bottom, coaching, the Joker, Murray, even he's got a little wheel, a little messed up, but you got nothing but veterans over there. And you got veterans that can flat out play, that weren't no bums, Contavious Caldwell-Pope, Aaron Gordon. They ain't got no slouches over there, bruh. And what Minnesota is doing is just, what they say, you got to take your hat off to them. Just take your hat off and shut up. That's it.
Yep.
Give them that credit. The staff, I've never seen for them to be such a young team. That coach has them where he wants them. The players understand who they are. I thought it always was going to be an issue with Cat and deferring to Edwards and things of that nature. People could say what they want to say about Gobert, but I'll take him any day of the week. He shows up. He plays in his lane. He stays in his lane, plays the game the right way, do what's asked of him out there, and he never complains. He just go out and play. So what else do you want? And then you can throw the rest of them guys in the air, and any one of those guys that's complement those three, and you can't miss. I love that squad.
Falling in love with them, man. I really have it. And for everything you just said, we didn't even talk about 6-man a year and Nas Reed. Like, who even thought that Nas Reed was going to come out and play like that? I will say this. Please say this wholeheartedly. I lived in a different era. Joe, you lived in a different era. Can we stop with the comparisons? Can we just let Anthony Edwards be Anthony Edwards and stop with this whole Jordan comparison and like just let the kid be the kid. Let him make his own brand. Stop with all these comparisons because he's taking a torch right now. I say let him run with it. I say let him continue to go and continue to play.
Anthony Edwards take anything serious, he's always laughing.
I know. He's having a good time, man. He's enjoying the game.
Boy is really just smiling through everything. And I'd be cracking up just looking at him. He's zoned in. It's like the more he's happy, the better he plays. And then he has this dog about him that we all know in his energy and how he's mic'd up and how he compliments all his players while he's mic'd up. I love the dynamic that even though he is that alpha, it's not a point where he's just throwing it down his throat. Like, it is so subtle in how he guides that team. And I love the balance of them. And the three-headed monster that is Nas, Rudy, and Cat is crazy because you talk about the big man game. They can come at Joker in so many ways, and they just keep rotating after one, after the other, after the other, after the other. And it's not like it's anything designed. It's just like they know where to go. They know who to talk, and they know to keep them here and there. They got a body on them at all times. And I just love the leadership that they all display. And they are young, but they're not young, if that makes sense. Like Gobert's not a baby, Cat is not, but they still young when you talk about playoffs and being at this time of the year. And the way they are handling it is phenomenal. And that goes back to the coach.
Chris Finch, man, you got to give him credit, man. Like another unheard of guy that nobody talks about. And I think that's, for me, I think that's what's been the best part. And this is no disrespect to the Lakers or the Warriors, or every now and then it's good to just have different teams in the chip, man. Like I want to see a different coach. I want to see different players. Like, no disrespect to the Suns, no disrespect to the Warriors. Listen, they all great, but I love seeing the difference, Joe. The young guys, the hungry guys. Let's get a different feel now for these, because some of these teams are on the West Coast. So unless you stay up late and unless you have an NBA package, you're not even seeing these teams play. This is the first time.
The NBA is just thriving on so many levels. I was looking more from the Pelicans, but once Zion went down, I thought that was going to be a very interesting situation if he had not got hurt. I thought that was going to be a very interesting situation had he not got hurt in that moment, and how the playoffs would have looked differently with the play-in and all that stuff. Take your head off to these guys, man. They playing fearless basketball. And they're playing respectful basketball, but they're playing fearless basketball. Because none of them are talking arrogantly. Anthony Edwards not being arrogant in it. SGA is not being arrogant in it. Nope. Brunson barely talks to any daggone body.
I know.
So, and then when he do, he's always talking about somebody else, like he didn't just drop 40-something daggone points. So they're very all humble in their notoriety as coming up in this game. And it's really, really good to see. And I want to touch on the one thing, because I have been that person that was a little bit adding Kyrie's off-court remarks to his basketball game. They're hoping that it would be different, because you know how the world is and how they want to beat up on you. And he was just such an amazing player. I was one of the main people I used to go live and talk about. Go to when Kyrie first came in the league. He was just a very educated person, and he was very strong-minded in what he believed and what he was saying. Does that make him this person y'all want him to be? No, because basketball-wise, is he in the top 10?
This is what I say about Kyrie. I'm curious to see what you think about this. I always say, now granted, when I say this on the fly, dude's got the best handle, especially on the fly, I've ever seen. That no disrespect against Tim Hardaway, no disrespect against AI. I've never seen anybody cross somebody up going 20 miles an hour in the middle of a lane and still have control. I've never seen it before.
And he's just so smart.
Super intelligent.
He's Rajon Rondo smart on the court. He don't get enough credit for how smart he is, how he grabs the moment. He grasps where they at in the game. And I think he's one of the most knocked on players outside of Chris Paul. I mean, because if Chris Paul get a championship, everything is all good. He'd be talked about. But because he has no championship, that boy will never get the true respect that he's due. And it's a shame, but that's the world we live in. I'm like Stephen A. Smith. I digress.
No, I'm with you, man. Listen, it's so funny that for everybody tuning in, this isn't like there's no script here about when we're talking like this. And even though me and Coach Joe go back and we've talked and we've had things together, but it's so funny, Joe, because not just Kyrie, you just mentioned CP3. You know, CP3 was always the guy I've always said that is the best player that nobody ever talks about. He played in Charlotte. He didn't win nothing. Man, when he was in Charlotte, he was unstoppable. People don't even realize how good Chris Paul was.
When he won. He just didn't win the big game.
And I forget what year this was, Joe. You might remember, but Game 7, Houston Rockets CP3. If he doesn't have an injured hamstring and he plays in that game, they win. That was his chance, man.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, none of this is scripted.
No, I mean, and that's the thing. We don't have no, like you said, Wikipedia, no whiteboards in front of us. We're just spitballing right now about our history and our nostalgia when it comes to the NBA, and it's because of what we're watching right now. And I love the fact that we're seeing the young guys because, and this goes back to who we are in the Delaware Bluecoats, that, you know, so many. We talked about this in previous episodes, so we don't need to rehash it. But, you know, we've had so many players come up to the roster and contribute to the roster. And I love that, you know, they mention guys like Jeff and guys like Ricky in the end of the year news conference. And Turk will be another guy. That's what they're going to look at in this offseason. You know, they're going to look at, can we rely on these guys? And they've been coached up so well, and these guys work so hard, and the culture starts in Delaware and goes to Philly. And it's great, Joe, because it gives us one leg up. And I'll tell you what, I'm excited because I'm going to be fully honest, man. I've blasted a lot of people because when we started this in November. And in November, me and you were both talking about Ricky Council. And fortunately, some people decide to just talk about players when they get good. And then all of a sudden, everybody started jumping on bandwagon. But we were there from the beginning, Joe. And we seen the evolution of this kid, didn't we?
Smart. We lost him early, 20-point score. Frazier didn't come until like midway, fighting through some knacks, and easy, anywhere between 15, 18-point score, rebounding, right? Bates, we lose him. Kenny Lofton Jr., we lose him, right? Turk Smith, Sixers. Ricky Council, Sixers. Jeff Doughton, Sixers. Need I keep going on? Let's not even talk about the G League NBA slam dunk. Matt, we lose him. And Coach Longo, fresh head coach, brand new, kept his own, the same staff, didn't bring in this, that, and the third. And we still made it to the daggone. Are you kidding me, man? Do people understand basketball, man?
No.
Do they understand the G League? The year before we won the championship, we ended up playing a championship game with a 6'6" center. We brought in Mike Watkins at the very end, but Chris Clark and Pat McCall and these guys, 6'7", 6'6", trying to hold it down against 6'10", 6'11", 7 foot. You know, the Celtics had 6'10", 6'11", 7 foot, 7 foot. So, I mean, you look at some of the people that we lost. You look at all those guys that I just named that we lost. Not one of them outside of Bagley, right? Because Melvin Frazier stayed and played his butt off, but he's still undersized. At Bagley, who was dealing with the knickknacks and things. And that, I mean, what did they want from Coach? I was very upset that Coach Longo was not in the running for Coach of the Year.
That's crazy.
How? Let's take Mac McClung off the board because he started somewhere else. But just from what we had from the beginning of the season till what we lost, everybody that went up and was taken by this team or that team was a 20-point score. So you lose about 100 or 120, 25 points and he still got it done. And how he's not coach of the year in that sense. That was a hell of a year he just had. Amir Nelson should have been in the running for GM of the year. They should at least been in the top 3. They should at least been in the top 3, okay? They don't, I get it. But if you look at what they've done, if you understand the G League, if you understand the nuances of what we have to deal with, of players getting called up and things of that nature, and players coming down that have to play, and you look at those nuances, come on, man, stop. I'm going to shut up. I'm going to shut up, right? Because I can get into some stuff that I don't want Alex and them calling me and getting on me, but you know, I bleed blue coats, man, and I might be a little biased, but I kind of covered a whole G League. We did some amazing things this season, and Jameer Nelson had, you know, tape and glue keeping it together.
I mean, listen, I'm biased too, obviously, right? Because we're in this together. I am hell-bent on knowing that a lot of people that make these decisions, I'm not going to say they don't know basketball, but they make the decisions based on non-basketball sense. If people understand that, meaning a lot of people just look at stats. A lot of people don't understand. Yep. You said nuances of the game. Put it in perspective, man. When you have literally at times 2 to 3 guys going from our roster up to the Sixers roster, then coming back down and completely flowing out the ebb and flow of a starting lineup. And you know, you practice every day in the play formations. And okay, who's going to go in here? Do we do like, it's not easy, man. And not to mention that these are young kids. Like, you know, these are young kids who, for the most part, right, were undrafted, some of them, who already are trying to find their way. They're probably, you know, from a mental aspect, saying, man, they're down on themselves. They got to be coached up. There's a lot of things that go into this. And not a lot of people look at that, Joe. They really don't.
And I'm going to say this on record, and I've said this quietly, but it's the truth. The year we won the championship, I hope you understand the context of what I'm saying is, they were well coached. This season, they were well taught. It had nothing to do with coaching. They had to do more teaching. The way our roster was formed and the way we were set with Coach Carl and the way things were in place with Foxy and JP and Sham, things were kind of solidified, solid. We were good. Even though they were up and down, it was more coaching. A lot of these guys, super young, just starting out, not knowing themselves, right? Like you get an Aminu who just was coming into his own and things of that nature. So they did coaching, but they had to do a lot more teaching because they were being picked more this season than they ever were the previous season. And the up and down, the up and down, the up and down, and the movement, this guy go and we bring him back and we thought we was losing him, we get him back. So it was a lot of teaching, not just the basketball side, but a lot of these guys had a lot of things that they needed this with in their maturity. And the culture, you never seen any animosity towards one another. You've never seen any blow up. You come to any of our games, you never can go in the game and say, oh man, I can't believe you see the way he went at coach. You never saw that. You see guys in the NBA going at their coaches, but you never saw that with our team with all the transition. That's teaching. That's the reason why we were so cohesive, because it was an understanding that these guys need to be taught. You had to do it a certain way. You had to be patient. Even though we did not win the championship, I thought collectively we did a hell of a job.
Listen, I agree. And last episode, we talked to Coach Ayers. He said the same thing about teaching. And the best thing about that is it's going to go with them into next season, right? Right. So those lessons learned, and whether they're up with the Sixers or whether they're here with the coach, it doesn't matter. Those lessons learned will be with them for a long time. And that's what a great thing is. And that's why the culture, like you talked about the culture. Let's touch on, as we finish this out, Joe, about the culture of the Blue Coats themselves. Great facility at the Chase Fieldhouse. And if I'm not mistaken, this is the second. Okay. Carpenter Center, right? Was
and then here.
And then here. And
so,
then
yeah. So we played at Wells Fargo a couple of times.
That's true. But this is actually, and for those who haven't been there, man, it's a great facility. We've talked about this before. So many different things that go on. There's bounce houses on the one side for the kids. There's a lot of stuff. Everything's affordable. But that being said, Joe, in the off season, what happens? People say, oh, well, does the Chase Fieldhouse Center close? Is it all done? Now, everybody, what actually happens in the off season for the Blue Coats in the Chase Fieldhouse?
When you talk about the evolution, right, man, you know, going from 2006 2018, which was our last season at the Bob Carpenter Center. And, we knew this great facility was being built. And the vision that they had for us from BPG, which is Buccini Napoleon Group, that built it, and now over to the Chase Center, who's one of our biggest partners, and they've been an amazing partner. And to see that big 76 on the side of the wall out when you drive by, for me, it gives me a sense of pride. My shoulders are always up. I'm walking upright, knowing that I'm a part of that. January of 2019, the grand opening, and getting ready, because we played some games at the Bob. We had to play some games at the Wells Fargo just to kind of get ourselves together till our court got ready for us. Tony, when I tell you we have one of the beautiful homes in the whole G League, we have, if not the beautiful home in the whole G League. From top to bottom, Larry Milai, Alex Yo, Joe Kane, Jenna, to our awesome sales staff, and Jessica, Alex, Sarah. We just have an amazing team. And when you talk about what happens when the season is over, that's when these great guys go in a place named Amon Krisden, Liam Matthews, and Jordan. And Jordan is the youngest of us, Jordan Trenum, and he's the youngest of us. And we get in the community like nothing you've ever seen. We flood the community. We make every corner of the great state of Delaware Blue Coats country, because we are the Delaware Blue Coats. We just sit here in Wilmington, but we got family as far as Harrington, as far as Dover. We got family all down there. Then we touch all the surrounding areas. We're right across here in Maryland, Elkton. They come over. The mayor of Elkton is a season ticket holder with us. We got some great people that come up from the Philadelphia area. We got people right across here in Swedesboro, New Jersey, that come and support. So we just get in the community like nothing you've ever seen. Hospitals, churches, community outreach, YMCAs, Boys and Girls Clubs, we just go out there. And Tony, when you got the number one mascot in the whole G League, Cody, how can you not be in the community? And when you have the support of the business community, the mayor's office, the governor's office, when you have that kind of support, how can you not be as successful as we have been? How can you not? And I think what we set out to do, if we had 10 things, Tony, that had to get done, we checked all 10 boxes. Because we are 100% inclusive. Our theme nights, whether it's first responders night, whether it's autism night, whether it's teachers night, it don't matter. We make sure that everyone feel as if they are a part of this. And like you talked about, our Kid Zone, that is the best part, because now that what makes us family friendly. And if you know Delaware is about family. Delaware is still old school with a lot of the new wave stuff going on, but Delaware still has a lot of the old school values. And we still believe in things like loyalty, character, integrity, being good for your word, doing what you say. Those are the things that I believe makes us who we are in our relationship with the great state, because people see that we walk it like we talk it. And that's what I love about us more than anything.
The community outreach is huge. But I gotta mention too, I sent Alex a text when I saw it, but those jackets that were given out to the season ticket holders, man, like that's the little things people don't see. For the culture, right? Was the businessman, they were nice.
Young gentlemen did that for us. And I'm telling you, man, when you talk about our growth, we have grown so amazingly. And to watch the city, to watch the state, to watch the tri-state area grow with us. And don't forget, Tony, because you've been to both. You've been to the field house and you've been to Wells Fargo. We get so much support from Coach Nurse. He's been to games. We get so much support from the players. Tyrese Maxey have been to the games. The Sixers kick off the season with us with their blue and white game. Joel Embiid, everybody's here. So it's not like they say, oh, go down there, you're on your own. You can find Laura Price. You can find Susan. You can find Elton Brand. You can get so much support. Sixers, Dome Squad 76, Franklin. We get so much support. DJ Ghost, DJ Hugh. You still remember the Sixers? We get so much support. And I truly believe that is the reason why we have the banners that we have. We have that amazing championship ring that I have. And we just going to keep it going, man. That's why we have the Blue Coats Beat. We have this outreach so that we can educate people and tell them, come on and be a part of our family.
Yes, come on and be a part, man. Jump on the beat with us every single time. Jump on the beat. Make sure you go subscribe. As always, the Blue Coats Beat. You can find it everywhere we you get your podcast. You can find it on YouTube, on Heat Ratio Sports page, on the Delaware Blue Coats page, on socials. We're always out there bringing. We just had Coach Ayers. We got some more phenomenal guests coming up, and who knows what we have planned next season? Who maybe, hey Joe, maybe we'll be live at a venue near you next year or something. I don't know, man. I feel like this beat's going to get stronger and stronger year after year, man.
We got to put it on the road, baby. I'm waiting for you, Tony. I'm waiting to be sitting on the sideline of the kids zone with the Blue Coat beat, baby.
Let's go. I'm in, man. Best part about that, Joe, if we start something like that, talk about community outreach. How amazing would it be to have our season ticket holders hop on a mic and talk about their experiences right there, live, right there on the beat? I mean, I think we need to talk about making that happen. That's what I
know. What we just did, we just talked about it. So it don't happen without you, Tony. So let's make it happen.
I'm gonna make it happen, man. I'm gonna make it happen. We'll have some special events, man. It'll be awesome. We love the support from everybody. We thank everybody for your continued support and downloads. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you hit that 5-star, and make sure you catch us back here on the next episode of the Blue Coats Beat.